The opinions expressed by the host and guests in this show are not necessarily the views of Children's Health Defense.
Everyone around me seemed like they were in a spell, mindless, robotic. It's as if all they could think about was, get your vaccine. All I could think about was, why are so many babies dying? So prior to 2021, mothers were healthy for the most part. They would come in, deliver their babies were healthy, they'd go home, no big deal. Before the vaccine rolled out, we would have an average of 4 babies born dead or stillborns per year prior to 2021. And after the vaccine rolled out, these mothers were going to their OB doctor and the doctors were pushing the vaccine on them. And all of a sudden, around March and April, these mothers started coming in delivering their babies, but their babies had already died. So we went from 4 per year to 4 per week stillborns. And it's 2025 and it's still happening. Every time I go to work, there is a baby born dead.
Well, good morning, CHD. It is Monday, the 11th of August, 2025. And we have Michelle Spencer and Greg Glaser coming on in a minute. And then we have a super important subject. We're going to be talking about explicit books in schools. It's long overdue for CHD to be covering this. So we have 2 fantastic warriors for it coming on to talk about the fight to do the right thing. And then we have Mothers-to-be on male infertility. And then we're going to be playing our medical professional story of the day, which happens to be Michelle Spencer's story from the bus. Many of you may remember Michelle being on the bus way back then. Okay, let's start this show off. Good morning, Michelle, and good morning, Greg Glaser. Welcome to CHD TV.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, thank you so much.
It's just great to have you both here. And Michelle, what a journey you've been on. I mean, I want to say ever since the bus interview, but you really have been out there fighting. Greg, thank goodness you're in on this as well. Update us on where we are with this whole case. And actually, maybe before that, some people may not be familiar with this case. I assume everybody knows about it. So let's talk about, Michelle, let's talk about what it is you saw. There's the article in The Defender. California hospital concealed evidence linking catastrophic surge in stillbirths to COVID vaccine. This is a lawsuit. The lawsuit filed in the California Superior Court also accuses the hospital of retaliating against whistleblower Michelle Spencer after she made public an internal hospital email that revealed the skyrocketing rates. And Michelle, you may remember on the bus talking about how she would go into work and every day you said on the bus that you went into work, you'd see a fetal demise, which you never saw before, which is just horrific. So let's start off with hearing from you, Michelle, on your journey to now, really, to where we are now today.
Okay. I'd be happy to. I'll try to make it short and simple, but basically the lawsuit states everything that happened very well right there in the complaint. And I worked all of 2020 on the postpartum floor. And in that year and all the years prior, we would have maybe 4 fetal demises per year in the hospital out of like 10,000 births every year. So it's a very small number. And then when 2021 rolled around, springtime, these mothers started coming in to deliver their babies and their babies had passed away inside. And prior to 2021, there were 4 per year. Now, after this springtime, we begin having 1 per shift. Per my shift. So it was averaging out like 4 per week. And this is based on observation only. So there's no way for me to know the actual numbers except for what I've seen myself. And, I went through 2021. I saw all these babies being born dead, basically. And then in 2022, I received an email from one of the educators at work that went out to all these nurses, like maybe 200. And it said, as you all know, there's been an increase in fetal demises. And in the month of August, there were 22 of them. And that's a record number for the hospital. And so I sent that letter to my friend who is, an advocate. She's worked with CHD before. She sent it to RFK. And from there, he sent it to a team and said, take care of this. And this story is just, when I tell this story, it sounds like I'm making it up. And it's crazy. This is like, I feel like I was really born for this, to share this truth, to wake people up. And so my workplace got mad at me for sharing that email. They found out, and they kept a bonus from me, which I was entitled to, a retention bonus. And they said it's because I broke the rules when I shared an email. And so that's retaliation. So I kind of went through the next couple of years with speaking out about this, kind of mad at my work for retaliating, but also like, whatever, I'm going to keep working anyways, because I love these moms and babies. I mean, the babies are still dying when I go to work, but like nobody else seems to really care. And so I kept going to work. And then about 3 months ago, I had a family member complain about me to the hospital. My first complaint, I think, ever against me as a nurse. And the family member said that this mother, or this nurse, is talking these mothers out of giving the hepatitis B vaccine. She's giving biased information. She's saying that the only way you get hepatitis B is if you have sex with someone who has hepatitis B. And so my boss called me into the office and said that this family member is complaining about me. And she said exactly what I just said. And I said, yes, that's correct information. And I was kind of stunned. I'm like, what is the complaint about again? And so she said, I know you have your beliefs, Michelle, but you need to do what's required of you per the institution. And I kept saying, no, if you give a shot that has 10 times the amount of aluminum per, toxic dose for a baby's body, that's chemical assault. And I'm not going to be doing that to a baby. It's wrong. And she just kept saying, I know you have your beliefs, Michelle, but you need to do what's required of you. It's like she didn't hear a word I said. And so I called my friend Curtis, who connected me to Mary Holland. And thank God, because Mary Holland connected me to Greg, and Greg is, trailblazer. He's at the front lines with me now, and he's helping me to fight this, because ultimately it's wrong. What's happening is wrong. These babies need a voice. They need to be protected. They need somebody in their corner. And, every time there's a fetal demise, I write it down, because I know that nobody else is. And all of these babies matter. So I have written down so many, and I'm telling you, it's 2025, halfway done with 2025. And there's still a baby that passes away every single time I go to work since 2021. It hasn't stopped. And so someone needs to do something about this.
Yeah, Michelle, thank God for you. Greg, I just want to ask you a question. So Michelle just said that the hospital accused her of doing something wrong by sharing the email. Did she?
Michelle followed the law and the ethical requirements for a whistleblower. Michelle shared an email that was already pre-sanitized and de-identified of any patient information. And so Michelle followed the law. The hospital, however, tried to intimidate her by suggesting that maybe she violated a privacy law. And then when Michelle replied to them, no, I didn't violate any privacy law, they shifted strategies to go with hospital policy. That they say, well, even if it wasn't a violation of a privacy law, it violates our internal hospital policy to share this type of information. So the hospital has a concocted, delayed excuse for what occurred, and we'll get to those details in the case. The key point that Michelle has highlighted is that we have here is the hospital committed fraud. One thing that I think you'll be particularly interested to know, Polly, is that the hospital, we have circumstantial evidence in the case, the hospital actually compared the deaths among the vaccinated group to the unvaccinated group. And by unvaccinated, I mean a mother who never got the COVID shot compared to mothers who did get the COVID shot. I don't mean unvaccinated in the sense of never had a vaccine in life. That group, we have no evidence of any deaths among the completely unvaccinated group who've never had a vaccine in life. But among the like flu vaccinated Tdap group, that's the baseline number of deaths, which we are estimating could be about 4 per year. And then above that, you have this massive spike in the COVID-vaccinated, where the deaths start going up to 4 per week. And it is this, that is a massive number. That is a safety signal. And so we have circumstantial evidence that the hospital knew that, and they buried it, and they misled staff, they misled patients about this matter. So that's why we are alleging fraud in the complaint, in addition to whistleblower retaliation. And the relief that we're requesting from the court is really important. We are requesting that the hospital pay for a third-party investigation, an audit of their records, that release that vaccinated versus unvaccinated data so that it can be analyzed and accurately reported to regulators, and then the regulators report to the public, which is how this is supposed to go. And we're asking for an end to the hospital's policies that force staff to withhold critical information from patients. And Michelle can highlight what that's like, because she has been speaking to patients about the risks of, for example, the hepatitis B vaccine, the aluminum content in it. And when Michelle educates patients about the quantity of aluminum in a hepatitis B shot, which is more than a baby can handle, that is a scientific fact. When Michelle educates the patients about scientific facts, Michelle, what happens at work?
The mothers say, okay, I don't want it. And I'm like, yeah, all these shots have toxic ingredients in them. So your baby, give your baby a chance to have their immune system develop first before you start adding anything, or in fact, don't add anything at all, because they're not necessary. And I'm just planting a lot of seeds. And I'm hoping that if I can get parents to think about the Hep B vaccine and not get that one, because of the toxins, hopefully they're going to think for the rest of them down the line that they're unnecessary. So I'm giving informed consent. I'm just telling them what's in it, and if it's even necessary or not. I mean, obviously, a sexually transmitted disease for a baby, I don't know a lot of babies that go out and do these types of behaviors. So I'm just giving informed consent. And 99% of the moms, after I tell them about hepatitis B, the facts, they say, no, I don't want it. And then the doctors will go in there and harass them. They'll say, if you don't get this shot, your baby could die. And then the doctors will come out and tell me, oh, the mom wants it now. And I'm like, no, she doesn't. I know you harassed her. I haven't said that yet to the doctors, but I'm sure it's coming. But anyway, after I tell these moms, I give them informed consent, they opt out. They don't want it after that. And so I'm planting a lot of seeds. I just know that I can't stop. Like when I walk out of a room after giving this mom this information, I'm like, oh my God, why can't I stop doing this? Like, it makes me crazy. But I'm just passionate about protecting babies.
The hospital is saying to you that you're doing this for personal gain, whatever that means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was pretty confused when they asked me that, because what kind of personal gain am I getting from going to work and feeling all this anxiety every time I go, because I'm fighting for the truth, and all these people around me just want to do their job. She tells me I need to do what's required of me, and not follow my beliefs. These aren't even my beliefs. So no, absolutely not. This is not for personal gain. I haven't really gained anything this whole time. In fact, I lost my bonus.
Yeah,
I made a lot of friends, a lot of truth warrior friends, which I totally appreciate that.
Oh, well, Greg.
And also Michelle has been ostracized at work. There are some in management who will even refuse to speak with her. She's been cast aside like a scarlet letter. She's the one who's known as the whistleblower. So don't talk to her, because it might get out. And so
we're allowed to know what hospital this is.
Yeah, it's a community regional medical center in Fresno.
In Fresno?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all our viewers, if you live near Fresno, pop into the hospital, go and give Michelle some love and show her how much she is loved by our community. And we're so grateful for what you're doing. Michelle, why speak out? You don't have to do this. You could stay super quiet like the majority of the others are and just get on with your life. Why are you doing this?
because I was born for this. And my mom was taken from me, and they unleashed the hospital protocols on her during COVID. And since that day that I lost my mother, I became unstoppable. I'll continue to defend these babies. My mom did tell me multiple times, do not quit. Those babies need you and you're saving them. So that's why I do this.
And well, thank you for what you're doing. Your mum would be immensely proud. Some of you will remember that a story of Michelle's mum from the bus, remdesivir death, if I remember correctly. They did exactly what they've been doing to so many during the hospital protocols. And just know, Michelle, CHD have not forgotten about those hospital protocol killings. We are on it. Greg, quick question for you. What are you expecting to find? What documents are you expecting to find in discovery?
Yes, we are expecting that discovery will yield information confirming our circumstantial evidence that the hospital knew ahead of time about the vaccinated versus unvaccinated data comparison. The hospital analyzed that information and buried it. And then the hospital simultaneously misled the public and staff, patients to promote the vaccine. And the hospital gained financially from this misrepresentation, which is fraud. And so discovery will be focusing primarily on that data comparison between vaccinated and unvaccinated and the fraud.
Greg and Michelle, please do keep us updated on how this is going. This is an extremely important case, and we are behind you 1,000,000%. Godspeed to you both. Michelle, keep that chin up, keep walking proud into that hospital, because you are literally doing God's work. Thank you. And Greg, thank you so much. Now, and people can follow Michelle. Where can they follow you?
So you can follow me through acosforautism.org or Healing Ground on Facebook.
Wonderful. And Greg, of course, people will see you. You do so much for CHD. We're so grateful for you.
Thank you.
All right, both of you, we'll see you very soon on CHD TV, and thank you. We'll be praying for you and this case. So, and for all those dead babies that were killed. Thank you so much to both of you for this very important work.
God bless.
All right, everyone, we're on to a very important subject now. We are going to bring on our next guest, which is Landi and Heath Gilbert. Good morning, both of you.
Morning. Good morning.
All right, so this is the topic. So viewers, listen to. I've been wanting to cover this for a long time. Why don't you both? Well, both of you are extreme. I've got you. One of you, Dan, you're a retired state trooper, U.S. Air Force reservist, and Heath, both of you have been in this game. The experienced people fighting for what's going on in the classroom. Why don't you tell us, Dan? Why don't we start with you? What's been going on? What have you found? And I mean, the craziness that's been going on around it.
Sure, thank you. To summarize, we found extremely sexually explicit books in our high school library, primarily in the high schools, some in the middle as well. I said, me as a concerned parent, including Gilbert here, brought that to the attention of the school district, and instead of working with us to remedy the situation, they tried to hide, obstruct, and then demonize us for basically blowing the whistle on it.
Now, what is in the contents of these books? Remember, we're sort of a family show, so be careful how you put this out, but it's extremely important that we know this as well. What is in the content of these books? What is it that's upsetting you both and should upset everybody?
Yes, ma'am. The glorification and the normalization of things like drugs and alcohol. There's a lot of pedophilia in these books. There's incest in these books. And it's not just a reference to, it's an explicit description of these acts. Some of these acts read like a how-to for somebody that has no experience with it and would like to do it. It goes into specific detail on how they could reproduce it. The sex acts in it are very graphic, and there's a lot of it. And many of these books are targeted, they are written specifically with young audiences in mind. So it's not a book for an adult that is accidentally made into the library. The authors are reading these by the graphics that are in the books and them being targeted specifically for young adults. They're targeting these children with content. And without getting into it, I'm telling you, some of these things, when I read the descriptions of like the rape and the other things, not a soft man, but these things keep me up at night. I can't sleep after I have read this graphic content that is in these books. And I got to believe that if these books are impacting me, somebody that's all over the world has seen a lot of violence, a lot of evil, that this is negatively impacting the kids and harming the kids as well.
And what was
And
the school? You guys went to the school board about this, and what did the school board do about it?
They have done, okay, we argue with school district constantly, but there is, in 2.5 years, there has not been a single time that the board stepped out to define what type of books we should have in our library, to say these books that we read, and I read graphic content that the newspaper won't print even in medical terms because it is so abhorrent, they don't want it in their paper. The book just sits there and they say absolutely nothing. The only comment that they have made during one of these board meetings in the 2.5 years is to say, well, we have diverse student body. We won't do anything. They used to have policy in place that would allow me to challenge a book. When I got over 150 books that I had challenged, they rescinded the policy. So I can't even challenge a book anymore. All I can do is email the superintendent and the principal and they to decide if they're going to look into books or not. They do nothing. They won't answer our questions. We ask it at every one of these board meetings. What is the literary value of this book? Is the curriculum objective? In 2.5 years, and I'm guessing 150, 160 times we've asked the question, not one time have they ever responded, tried to answer questions for us. They absolutely ignore us.
Are the other parents behind you want to understand this? Because I guess most parents don't have a clue these books even are in the library.
There are, but they're afraid. So we get run through the ring by the school district. They call us names. They say that we're all kinds of different things they call us. People are afraid to speak up because they don't want to be treated in the same way that Dan and I and some of the other parents are treated. We had the very first meeting, we were from a book called Lucky, and absolutely abhorrent content describing a week and the acts that occurred during that. We had a pastor for a local church that doesn't live inside city limits. The pastor and his wife both addressed the Board of Education. The meeting, they changed the school district policy to be anybody that pays taxes to the school district, meaning a resident could address the Board of Education. They changed the policy that night to prohibit you from speaking unless you were a resident in the school district. They continually put hurdles in front of us, blocks in front of us, to try to limit the complaints that they also went from at that meeting, they changed it to where we only talk about books every 3 months. So I get 5 minutes every 3 months to talk about around 200 books now. They know what they're doing. They're trying to silence us at every step of the way.
So, all right, well, just Dan, maybe you could talk about, because it was a bit hard to hear some of what you were saying then. Just so people are really clear, what kind of content are we talking about in these books?
Well, very graphic violence, very graphic sexual conduct, heterosexual, homosexual, bestiality. I mean, they cover basically the gamut, but it's very sexual. The sex acts are described in details. Drug use is glorified, and so is violence. It's really abhorrent material that I'm shocked to learn was in our school, that the school is actually spending our money to purchase these type of books. This is the kind of content, and the kind of content you would expect to find in an adult bookstore, not in a high school library. And that's the problem.
Now, what are the next steps? What happens now? How can we fight this? How can we join you in fighting? I agree with you. I think it's absolutely disgusting that these are in the Young Minds Library in schools today.
Sadly, we started off face to face, man to man, so to speak, with the school district, with the board of education, with the superintendent's office. We thought by going directly to them that we could resolve this. And like he said, instead of working with us, they obstructed us, and made it more difficult for us to even talk about the book at an open school meeting. And then every time we turn around, they ignore us primarily to shut us down, just ignore us, and can't seem to get any traction. So we're asking is for media outlets like yours, to help us spread the word, to help us notify the public in general that if this is happening, one, and number two, that it's okay to speak out. And matter of fact, I mean, we have a duty as well as Christians, as moral people, regardless of your religious background, as moral people, to do something about it. And I'm so brokenhearted and surprised even that my school board, who are local people that we know, won't assist us in this. It's just incredibly obstruction resistance that we got, the pushback from the school district. It's unspeakable.
Have the school board read the books? Have you shown them the books?
Go ahead.
Yes. So we send them passages from the books. I read it to them at board meetings. I send the content in. When I send it to them by email, I always include the statement. What is the literary value? What are the curriculum objectives of this material? In 2.5 years, I have not received a single response to any of our concerns from the school board. They're trying to pretend like this doesn't exist. They're ignoring the issue.
So what can we do how can we get involved though? I mean, where can people follow you? How can we support you?
So the webpage that you've seen a little bit there is Karen School District Exposed. And we put information that we believe is relevant there. I have a list of books. We call it the Dirty Book List. And I've updated it in a while, and I apologize, but that is intended to be a resource. We found that every school district, anybody has ever asked us about, we have looked into it. Every school district has many of these books in them. It is a concerted effort by people. I won't speak to why they're doing it. I don't know. There's a push nationally in every state, in every school district, to introduce these harmful books to children. And this opportunity that we have today, just getting the word out there, I think is what we've got to do. We've got to encourage parents, grandparents, churches, and concerned taxpayers to speak up about the content that they are exposing our children to, the real harm that the content is doing to the children that we're paying to be provided to them through our taxes within our public schools.
So who's behind this? Who orders those books to go into the library?
Believe it or not, the American Library Association pushes this out to all of the different entities. So each will have a version of the ALA. They also have different school districts or states rather, have their own state library associations. And at the top of these associations are the individuals that want to push these different agendas. And right now, predominantly in every school district, you're going to find the alphabet mafia, the LGBT issue that is present in being pushed on the kids. The normalization of deviant sex acts are in every school district. Every school district has got some of these. There are none. Even parochial schools have got some of these books in their libraries.
Yeah, and the concern is for the mental health of these young minds as they read these things, for sure. You two we're so grateful that you're standing up for this, and I know that our viewers will get behind it. And what other concerns, if any, do you have about the schools? Because there's no wonder homeschooling is going through the roof when you hear these things.
Okay, so first off, we have left family values behind us years ago. The book that they're putting into these institutions, the public schools, do not promote traditional family values. Everything is on the table. Deviant sex act, normalization of drugs, immoral violence, it's all in there. We have entirely forgot about the traditional family values. And the utmost concern for me is parental rights. Parents do not have the ability or the option to know the content of the books that their children are being exposed to. There is nothing that these school districts provide that a concerned parent, if they want to look for the book Lucky, by the way, is an example. So you can see what type of content is in that book. There's nothing. So parents, without picking up that book and reading 300 pages, they don't have the ability to know what is in the book. In our school district, we've got 1,600 kids. In the school district, in the Cameron School District, there are more than 30,000 books. Even reading a book a day, a parent would not be able to know what is in every book to decide what content they want their child exposed to. And the district will not empower parents to know what is there. We have 40-some books the district has restricted, books that we have brought to their attention. They have had a committee that has read these books and has restricted them to kids that are 18 years old. But there is no ability for a parent to look at those 42 restricted books to determine why the school district has restricted it. They're not empowering the parents. There are no parental rights.
Well, Dan and Heath, I can't thank you enough for the work that you're doing. Please do keep us updated, though. Come back on the show and let us know how this fight is going, and we join that fight with you. And thank you both for fighting for our kids and for the future.
Thank you, and thank your audience, and God bless them.
Thank you. Okay, everyone. Well, so many of you will have noticed that we had a new intro at the beginning of the show. Thank you to Lou for that. Some people don't like change, I get that, but he kept the rooster in, so we should be pleased. The rooster lives on. Right, we're going to go to Mothers to Be, and then we're going to hear Michelle's story from the bus. What a great show today. There's lots to fight for, people. We've got to keep out there. We've got to keep on it. We don't have to agree with everything, but we do need to fight for what's best for these young minds and for the future. And God bless those poor babies that were killed by those COVID shots. So good. Onwards we go. CHD TV, we will always bring you the truth. And Michael Caine will be with you tomorrow. Pray big, my friends. Stand firm and never settle. I'll see you soon.
Good morning, CHD. Welcome to our Mothers to Be segment. My name's Isabella Yon, and on our Mothers to Be segment, we chat all things preconception, pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and that first year of life. Today, I'm joined by Jonathan Tommy, and we're going to be having a chat about male infertility, which is such a big topic that I feel like is not spoken about enough. So welcome, Jonathan. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, how are you?
Well, thank you. Jonathan, let's talk about male infertility. It's been described as a growing pandemic today. Why is that?
So I think, as a male, if wife doesn't fall pregnant quickly, you think she's got the issue. The big issue here is that male infertility affects between 50 and 80 million people across the planet. And when you look at all of the things that potentially can contribute to that, there is a growing list, and male infertility is becoming more and more common. And men need to sort of wake up and really look at themselves as they may have the problem and not their dear wife.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you have a slide on this, so let's check it out. Just how common is male infertility? I know you have some stats pulled up, which really shocked me, actually.
So when you look at infertility, obviously it's impacting 10 to 15% of couples globally. So mum and dad are trying desperately to have a baby, and 10 to 15% of those are going to struggle. And as I said, 50 to 80 million individuals worldwide are facing infertility. And you've got a massive rise in the quality and decrease in semen levels over a period of 1973 to 2011, 50 to 60%. So something is really going on with the poor men on this planet. And I think we need to delve deep into the reasons why this is occurring.
Yes. And why do we think, this is occurring? Are there any kind of root causes that we're seeing? What are we suspecting is causing this huge increase?
Yeah, so if you go on to the next slide, we've got obviously, we're living in a toxic soup. The foods that we consume, the environment in which we live, the air in which we breathe, everything is laden with toxins. It's a really big disaster, and it's getting worse and worse. So toxic consumption and exposures are really problematical. The nutrients that we are able to obtain from food with poor dietary choices, so we're obviously not getting the right levels of nutrients, and our bodies are solely they're reliant on the quality of the foods that we eat, and also the nutrients that are provided by those foods. Hormonal imbalances such as testosterone and follicular stimulating hormone are problematical in men across the planet. As we see the increase in fat gain and obesity, these conditions can affect sperm quality and delivery, of course. And being sedentary, stressed, and anxious, a lot of people live in a world where we are burdened with stress and challenges. Oxidative damage, poor gut health, and disturbed microbiome, and sexual dysfunction such as decreased libido and erectile dysfunction, and the use of medications and drugs. And on occasions, you have chromosomal abnormalities such as single gene defects. So there's a lot of things challenging the poor guy out here. And as one, thankfully, I've got 3 wonderful children, and I don't need to be concerned about it. But as we have more and more pressures coming in from literally every single direction, the man really has to step up to the plate here and take a real close look at how they're living, what they're consuming, their levels of stress, really get on board and manage everything associated with male infertility and support fertility as best you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting if you look at that list, these are things that sadly in our society are only going to increase down the road. So it really is crucial, even if you're a male who's not necessarily thinking about children right now, to start addressing some of this stuff. I think even of my kids in 20 years or whenever they're trying, for kids, it's really scary when you think about the environmental toxins and even things like EMFs that are so prevalent in our society now and will continue to be more prevalent in our society. So I really think as parents with kids, it's, smart to get these things in check for them now, but also teens, young adults, even if you're not thinking about children, it's really crucial to get on it. So I love that list. Thank you. So what are some tests, used to evaluate male fertility, or how do you know, if you're struggling with male infertility?
Okay, there's a home test called meetfellow.com. And it's a simple home test that you can do in the privacy of your own house. And you can check to see how well your sperm is in terms of numbers. And they're looking at an estimated number here. They're also looking at the shape and form and also the motility. We need healthy sperm, guys, if you have any wish to start a family or have a child, because if that's not the case, then you're going to be struggling and you're going to be joining a very, very long list of people who are looking for fertility support. So when we look at the medical history and physical checkups, the doctors obviously will investigate your health history, including past illnesses, surgeries, and medications that affect your ability to father a child, semen examination to look at the number of sperm and the motility and the shape, hormone testing to see if you're actually producing sufficient levels of testosterone and follicular stimulating hormone, which play a massive role in male fertility, genetic testing and imaging studies, post-ejaculation urine test, testicular tissue examination. So there are a lot of things to do if you're struggling, but obviously what we have to remember is that the sperm are produced by the body, and that requires good nutrition. That also requires the avoidance of toxicity that can impact sperm production. So it's really getting a grip with the diet, your lifestyle, avoidance of environmental toxicity. And really, guys, you've got to step up to the plate here. Don't blame mum to be because she may not be the problem. You've got to really look at yourself and step off the plate and realize that you could be 50% of this problem if you're struggling to conceive a baby.
Yeah, absolutely. So you do the test, say you get a diagnosis. What are the next steps that a man should take if he's been diagnosed with like a low sperm quality or something like that?
Okay, so I think number one, you've got to look at toxicities that are impacting the body. So a detoxification of all known toxins is going to be absolutely essential. Then what you've got to do is to focus on the diet, especially with antioxidants and reduction of oxidative damage, because antioxidants are little creatures in the body, unstable molecules. Basically, imagine a car with 3 wheels rather than 4, and it's looking to steal components from the body to stabilize itself by providing itself with a 4th wheel. The problem here is that then leads to nutrient deficiencies. So focus on nutrients is really very, very essential, and we'll highlight some of the main nutrients that are required to support male fertility later on. But that is a key area here that we have to focus on, because commonly the American diet is pretty poor. And with that poor selection of food, we obviously then lead to nutrient deficiencies. And what does our body require? It needs essential nutrients, it needs water, and it needs oxygen. So if you're deficient in any of those compartments, you're guaranteed to have a failure of the body somewhere down the line, whether it's illness and health issues. But male infertility is a growing problem across the world. And men really need to start to focus on what they can do to support fertility. So if we go back and have a quick look at that last slide that we put up, we'll look at some of those areas that we need to focus on. So diet is key. I mean, a lot of people eat a lot of nutrient empty foods, a lot of junk foods, a lot of fast foods. Let's really get back and look at the nutrients that are required for male fertility and formation of good, healthy sperm. Lose weight if you've got challenges with weight, support hormonal balances, support gut health, remove all toxins from your life and your lifestyle, and then focus on managing stress and anxiety and do some gentle exercise. All of these are superior in terms of choices that you can support your own fertility. So guys, it's time to step up to the plate, really identify how you're living, manage your diet, remove stress as much as you can, support yourself with a little bit of exercise and relaxation. That's really imperative. And the most important thing is to avoid toxins, and toxins will impact your sperm health and the motility of your sperm and the number of sperm. So you've got to be really very aware of what you're doing in terms of eating, how you're doing it with your lifestyle and managing stress, and how you're doing with cleaning toxins out of the body and out of the household. It's really imperative that all of these factors are taken into consideration if you want a healthy sperm and a healthy sperm count.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Jonathan, I know you touched a little bit on nutrient deficiencies. I'd love to dive in a little bit more there. I know on the Mothers to Be website, you've created a fantastic tool that is free that allows people, men in this case, to go in and based on symptoms, it will help you reveal underlying nutrient deficiencies that, of course, could be impacting fertility. Do you mind expanding a little bit more about that and how people might be able to do this for themselves?
Yeah, so basically, when we have a health symptom, you can relay it back to a potential nutrient or a number of nutrients that are impacting the body, and hence the reason why this health symptom or symptoms appear. So that will give you a clear indication of the nutrients you may be lacking in. And there are essential nutrients to support sperm development, sperm health, and male fertility. So let's just have a quick look at those. So antioxidants are essential. The main ones being glutathione, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin A, lycopene, CoQ10. The list is there, so have a look at all of those. And the antioxidant enzymes, which are important to detoxify. If your body is riddled with oxidative damage, the quality and health of your sperm is going to be massively impacted. So we've got to think about how we're living, the type of foods that we're consuming, the nutrients that are required to support good health of sperm and the motility of sperm and the number of sperm. So if you're struggling with all of those, you're going to struggle to conceive. And don't blame wifey here. It's you that could be the problem. And you've got to really look at how you're living, the foods that you're consuming, how you're managing stress, and all of the things you can do to support better sperm health and production.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. And yeah, if you guys go to the Mothers to Be website, you can fill out an online questionnaire that helps identify these nutrient deficiencies and will then help you consequently find some foods that will help to support you there. So I know, Jonathan, you wrote a book which really helps match nutrient deficiencies to specific foods. Can you tell people a little bit more about that and how they can grab that book?
So Understanding Nutrients is a book not only written by myself, but by Isabella Yon. And it's a great combination of looking at all of the nutrients, where you find them, how much you need in terms of the optimal daily requirement, what it does for your body, what robs it from your body. So it's an essential piece of reading for anybody, because without good nutrition, sadly, we end up in poor health and poor fertility, both for male and female. Antioxidants are required, a whole host and plethora of different nutrients, from minerals, vitamins, proteins, carbohydrates, all of these things. So it's an essential part of reading to support you. And this is what we're about. We want you to be successful with your conception. We want you to have a very healthy baby, and obviously looking throughout your pregnancy is imperative with the type of foods that you consume, the amount of stress you're exposed to. Toxins have to be removed because they don't only impact you, they impact your developing fetus through to baby and beyond. So we want to really support both mum and dad here on this journey. This, I know, is focusing on the dad. So understanding nutrients is a key component for you to select nutrient-dense foods that are going to support you on your health journey and the journey into starting or having an additional child, because it's imperative. We want the best results for you, but ultimately we want to optimize the health, not only for mum and dad, but also for the family as you expand.
Yeah. Are there any specific vitamins and minerals that play the biggest role in male fertility?
Yes, let's look at supportive nutrients for male fertility. You've got zinc, which is key, and I won't read everyone out, but these are the main ones that we're looking to support the production of sperm, the health of the sperm, and the amount in terms of the number. Because what you want are healthy sperm in good numbers to maximize your chances of having a successful conception. And this is all about how healthy they are. If they're not there in number, and if they're weak swimmers, they may have some chromosomal changes as well if they're not supplied with sufficient nutrients. So let's take a quick look at the supportive nutrients for male fertility. We've got zinc, magnesium, calcium, copper, manganese, selenium, vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin E, and glutathione. So all of these are essential. We've got another slide that I want to come up so you can look at this. B complex vitamins, folic acid, coenzyme Q10, amino acids, taurine, arginine, and carnitine. So really important amino acids. And these, of course, are derived from the protein sources that you consume. Lycopene, brilliant as a reduction of cellular sperm damage and boost sperm health. That's from tomatoes, and preferably cooked. Omega-3s, N-acetylcysteine, and Indian ginseng. So these are all very supportive, and we've got to remember the body uses a whole host of different nutrients all together. So when you look at chemical and metabolic changes that are going on in the body, or processes that are going in the body, it's not just a single nutrient here that are required. You've got a whole host working in unison to make these cycles, like the Krebs cycle, the citric acid cycle, needs numerous enzymes and cofactors and nutrients to make that function properly. So focus really on diet. You've got to do that, but organic foods, you've got to look at lifestyle. Let's not get so sedentary, guys. Let's lose a little bit of weight. Let's maximize those nutrients that should be available through eating good food, organic, chemical-free. Take regular, gentle exercise. Get enough sleep, guys. Come off the cigarettes and the tobacco and everything that's going to be detrimental. Avoid toxins and manage your stress. And remember, the more times you're trying and the more unsuccessful you are, that develops a lot of stress, and that could potentiate into arguments between mum-to-be and dad-to-be. So this is a unity here. Mum and dad have to work together to maximize their chances of supporting and having a great pregnancy and a wonderfully healthy child at the end of it. So there are a number of steps to do in advance of conception. So cleaning up your diet, removing toxins from your lifestyle and your body, and lose weight. And all of these we've highlighted on the Mothers to Be website. So please use that as a reference and really start preparing. You know, you can't build Rome in a day, as they say. You have to take it step by step and focus on nutrition. That's going to be key. Remove toxins from your lifestyle and as much stress from your lifestyle, and support your body with healthy food, rich in those nutrients that are there to support male fertility. And we've highlighted those, but we've got a great section on the Mothers to Be website, and go and have a look at that. Delve into that and ask us if you have any questions. Send us an email. We'll come back to you. What we want: healthy pregnancies, healthy children, and maximize the outcome for the child after he or she is born. We want you to have the perfect healthy baby, and in order to do that, it's time to prepare yourselves, prepare your health, prepare your nutrition, reduce stress, remove toxins, enjoy a little bit of light exercise, not too much, get out in the fresh air, and really start to focus on what you need to do in order to have the healthiest baby possible.
Wonderful. Jonathan, thank you so much for your time today. I feel like this was so insightful and just very comprehensive. So men, if you're watching, I hope this is helpful. Women, if you're watching, send this to a man in your life, and hopefully it will be helpful for them too. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
Okay, we're live. Can you tell us your name, please?
Michelle Spencer.
And what kind of a nurse are you?
I'm a postpartum nurse. I take care of newborn babies.
All right, and you want to talk about what happened during COVID. So in your own words, just go ahead and tell us.
Well, it's kind of a long story. I'll make it short as possible, but my mom was murdered by the hospital COVID protocols in 2021. I took her to the hospital, and from that point on, they just unleashed a series of protocols, and she was tied to the bed, and they knocked her teeth out and gave her remdesivir against her will and did all kinds of things against her will. So the whole time I was fighting to get in to save my mother, because I am a nurse and I am completely capable of saving her, and they would not let me in. They insisted that it's our policy, you can't come in. And I have never fought so hard for anything in my life, and my mother was my best friend. So she was murdered November 29th, 2021. She took her last breath, and I went into this dark depression. And when this happened, this is when the shots had rolled out a few months before, and everybody was kind of in this trance, like, get your vaccine. And, everyone was, they were criticizing the ones who didn't get the vaccine, and they constantly asked why my mom didn't get the vaccine. And it was just crazy. Everything was crazy. So, and I worked at postpartum before the vaccines came out. I worked there for 1 year, and I took care of newborn babies. And when I first started working on postpartum, we would have moms come in, deliver their babies, and for the most part they were healthy, and they would go home, and the babies were fine, the moms were fine, weren't any crazy medical conditions going on. And then when I started working there, I had to poke babies a lot, like to check their blood sugars, and they wanted me to give hepatitis B vaccines. And I wasn't comfortable with that. I gave one hepatitis B vaccine during orientation, and I complained to my mom about it. I said, I do not like that. I don't feel right doing that. And she said, do not quit. Those babies need you, and you're saving them. And so I took that. I'm like, okay, Mom, I'm not going to quit then. I took that as an opportunity. So instead of quitting, I I did a lot of research on hepatitis B vaccines at that point, and I realized that hepatitis B comes from, if the mom has it herself, she could technically pass it to her baby, or if you have sex with someone who has hepatitis B, you could potentially get it. And so when I learned that, and I learned that there's aluminum and formaldehyde in these hepatitis B shots, I was completely disgusted. I'm like, why are we giving these to newborns? So instead of quitting, because my mom told me not to, I started telling parents why you should not get hepatitis B vaccines for your newborns. So now, I provide informed consent to these parents, and most of the time, after they listen to me, they decline the hepatitis B shot. So that was kind of a blessing in disguise. And then, I heard that these COVID shots were going to start rolling out, and that they're going to start giving them to pregnant women. And I did not feel right about this at all. I already learned the dangers of the hepatitis B vaccines, and I have already been injured by a flu shot in the past. So I'm feeling like, okay, this is going to be extremely dangerous for these pregnant women, for these babies. And then March 2021 came around, and these women started coming to the hospital, full term, ready to deliver their baby, and they would put the monitors on them, and they'd find that their baby was dead. This was happening a lot after March of 2021. And I was just being really observant and noticing that a lot of these babies that were being delivered, already passed away. It appeared that the mothers had received the COVID vaccine like 1 week prior. So before the COVID vaccines ever came out, we would have one fetal demise every 2 or 3 months in the hospital. If we deliver 15 to 20 babies a day, I'm not sure how many per month, but if we have one every couple of months that passed away inside, that's a very low number compared to the amount we have per day that are born every day. So then these shots started coming out, and every time I'd come to work, there would be one fetal demise. And a fetal demise is a baby that passed away normally after 20 weeks, like closer to full term. And so I was feeling like disgusted. I'm like, why are these babies dying? every time I come to work, I'm seeing that there's one on the board, and nobody's saying anything about it. I start asking people like, hey, there's something going on, and nurses are like, no, it's weird. I don't know. I guess maybe it's pesticides. The moms aren't as healthy these days. Global warming. Like, you hear everything, but nobody wants to talk about the elephant in the room. And so these babies keep dying. I come to work and I see dead babies, and then my mom passes away in November 2021, a couple months after the shots had rolled out. A couple months after
She did not get a shot.
No. And that's the thing, when she went to the hospital, they kept asking me, why didn't your mom get the COVID vaccine? I said, she can't. She's allergic to vaccines. But even if she's not, who cares? My mom's life still mattered. You can't just say, oh, you're not vaccinated, so you're going to die now. Like, I'm going to poison you with remdesivir, tie you down, and shove a metal tube down your throat. Like, you can't do that to people. That's completely evil. And so, my mom passed away. I still go to work. I still see these dead babies. I even want to quit more now because I'm like, I'm tired of going to work. I'm tired of being alive, actually, and my best friend is gone. And but I hear my mom's voice say in the back of my mind, do not quit. Those babies need you, and you're saving them. So I'm like, okay, Mom, I keep going. And then in September of 2022, I get to work and I see this email, and I was completely disgusted by this email. After I read this email, I couldn't even work for 6 hours straight. I was trying, but my head's just everywhere. And in the email, it said, as you all know, there's been an increase in fetal demises, and in the month of August, there were 22 of them. And that makes for a record number for the amount in July of 2021. So, and then it keeps saying, it should have said something like, because of this increase in fetal demises, we should figure out what is going on. It didn't say anything like that. It said, because of the increase in fetal demises, we need to brush up on our policies and learn how to handle a dead baby's body. So I was like, I'm not brushing up on any of your damn policies. I'm so sick of policies, because that's all I heard when my mom was in the hospital is, you can't come in because it's our policy. I want people to start using their brains, start being connected to each other, start having feelings for other human life. Like, I don't understand why a policy should ever override human life. And so I took that email and I sent it to a friend who's affiliated with Children's Health Defense. And it's just so crazy how I even had that connection with her in the moment, because I didn't even think about the fact that she had connections to where that email would actually get out at all. In my head, when I sent that email, I wasn't really thinking about it at all. I feel like that was just God's work right there, because if my mom had not been murdered the way that she was, I don't know if I would have had the open mind to really consider what that email was at all. And so I believe it was that fight in me that I sent it off, and from there it went viral. And then I continued to go to work, and people were the same. So I kept asking, like, if what's going on, why are these babies dying? And it was the same thing at work. So the more I spoke out, I guess I was spreading awareness. And then in November of 2022, I was in the Died Suddenly documentary. So then my work caught on, and they realized I had shared this email. So in December, they had a meeting with me, and they said, are you aware that it's against company policy to copy and paste an internal document? And I said, why are you wasting your resources investigating why I copy and pasted an internal document? You guys need to be investigating why babies are dying. And then they just got kind of quiet. And then I said, I have rights as a whistleblower, and you guys should do something. And then at that point, they were like, okay, you can go back to work.
So you're still back at work?
I still work there. Yes.
Okay, I have a few questions. So,
okay.
Fetal demises is just horrific.
Yes.
What about those that took the shot and had their babies? Have you been seeing anything that's wrong with the babies different from before the shot?
Absolutely. So a lot of the babies are having cardiac issues. a lot of them. One of them was just born the other day and had to be transferred and have like an open heart surgery. And then a lot of babies are having echocardiograms done where they do the ultrasound on the heart to check for the pumping mechanism because they're finding that something is abnormal. So, and then there's respiratory issues, and there's a lot of babies going to the NICU. But for sure, heart.
Do they still vaccinate those babies with Hep B, those sick ones?
Yes, they do. Yeah. And so I really try hard to talk parents, not talk them out of it, but I give them true informed consent. Once they have all the information, they usually put 2 and 2 together. But you know, a lot of nurses just see it as a checklist. So they will offer the hepatitis B just to get their job done. And I try to provide the information to the other nurses too, and a few of them have also opened their eyes after listening to me.
Now, in the mothers that come in that have not had the COVID shot, are you seeing any of these issues?
Not quite. No, I haven't been seeing a lot of babies with cardiac issues when they don't have the shot, but it's kind of hard to tell on some of them if they've had the shot or not. But I can tell you that we're here in California, they're highly vaxxed because a lot of them have a certain doctor, like a clinic that they go to, and they push the vaccine really hard. So a lot of the patients that come in are usually vaxxed with COVID.
Now, what about the new RSV shot? Are you seeing complications with that, the pregnant women getting the RSV shot?
Not that I know of, because we haven't started giving that. I haven't really heard of anybody getting that in our hospital yet.
Okay. So what do you recommend? If you were, okay, let's put it this way. If you were having a baby, would you have your baby in hospital?
No. I would find a midwife, and I know that there's, like here in Fresno, there's a Fresno birth and baby. They have doulas and midwives there that are highly recommended. So I would definitely have, if possible, I would have your baby at home. Eventually I want to be a midwife myself, but I'm just not there yet. But I would love to deliver babies at home because we need that. We need moms to gain their power back.
Right, let's go back to your mum now. Can we talk about your mum for a second?
Yes.
So did you take her to hospital?
I did.
Did she start with the pulse thing on her hand, on her finger?
Yes.
So that was the first thing that you saw the stats?
Yes. So she had been sick for 10 days and at home, and I had been taking care of her, but I had also recently been sick. So I was still so completely drained. It was really hard for me to like try to be there 100% with her. So I was bringing her vitamins and water and doing things for her around the house, trying to get her strength back. But after day 10, she had called her friend, and her best friend was like, please take her to the hospital. I can't stand the thought of losing my best friend. And my mom agreed to go at that point. And I knew that people are going into the hospital and not coming out, but I was like, okay, well, she'll be okay. Like, she just needs oxygen. I wasn't aware of the dangers of remdesivir all the way yet. I knew it was not a good idea, but I didn't know completely why. And so when I dropped her off, I said, make sure you tell them not to give you remdesivir and that you just need oxygen. And then, so her sats were in the high 70s when I checked her sats when she was walking at home. So when she got to the hospital, they put 2 liters of oxygen on her on just a simple nasal cannula, and her sats went up to like 95%. So I was like, okay, she's gonna be fine. She just needs oxygen. She'll be there a couple days and then she'll be better and she'll come home. And then at 2 in the morning, after she had already told them when she got there, do not give me remdesivir, there's even a social work consult and a note that says, do not give patient any medications without consulting with her RN daughter first, per patient's request. They gave her remdesivir at 2 in the morning that first night that she was there. And then I didn't know about it, and she didn't know about it. And then 4 days go by, she keeps getting remdesivir, and neither one of us know about it. And then on day 4 is when she completely declined. She stopped answering my calls and my texts, and just got really sick, and her oxygen needs kept increasing. And when I called that night, I said, what are you giving her? They named off all these medications, and then they said remdesivir. And I said, why are you giving that to her? She told you not to give that to her. And they said, well, it's our protocol. And I said, well, don't give her any more. And they said, this is the last dose that she got. It was today. And so at that point, my heart sank. I knew at that point my mom was going to die, because at that point I had learned that remdesivir was toxic to your kidneys. It shuts them down. It fills up your lungs with fluid, causing the patient to have higher oxygen needs. And then so they keep increasing the oxygen, which is like blowing this pressure in their face for hours at a time, and it just shuts everything down. It completely makes your body go in the opposite direction. And so if they had just given her oxygen, like she said in the beginning, she would still be here.
So were you with her when she died?
In the last 15 minutes. They finally let me in the last 15 minutes.
Were you shocked by her appearance?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She went in. My mom was beautiful. She was 6 feet tall. She was about 180 pounds, redhead, curly hair. She's just like vibrant. And then when I took her to the hospital, obviously she looked sick, but she was, she looked like not like next to death. And then when I got there, she had been completely stripped of all her dignity, and like her skin was hanging off of her, and she was pale. Her eyes had been rolling back, and her hair was matted. She was laying in her mess. Like, they didn't even want to go in there and take care of her. I don't think she even had one bed bath or any kind of personal hygiene care at all. If I had been there with her, I would have taken care of all of that. I would have stayed with her in the hospital the entire time.
It's tragic, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anything else you want to say about these two, the fetal demise and your mother?
That my mom made that sacrifice in the hospital to die in that manner. Watching your own mother die the way that happened was a nightmare. I never wish on anybody, but I truly believe that she made a loving sacrifice, that she did that because she did it for you, for your babies, because she knew that doing that would light something in me to speak out. I have spoken out so much, and I want people to stop vaccinating their children with these toxic ingredients. Stop putting toxins in your body. Please just learn from my mom's sacrifice that we don't have to poison our bodies to be healthy. What we need to do is be more connected to each other, more loving to each other, take care of each other, and this world can be a better place. So my mom's murder was a sacrifice for your babies.
Did you get the hospital medical records?
Yes.
Were you horrified when you saw what?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Did they put how much she was worth dead? Did they put the price?
No, they didn't put that. But I know it's up there. I hear it's like close to $500,000 if they're elderly, if they were given the entire protocol from the moment they walk in, to remdesivir, to ventilator, to all that, and Medicare, everything. $500,000.
So you're still back at work?
Yes.
And you're still warning parents, giving
Yes.
informed consent. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Thank you for what you do and speaking to us now.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for giving me a voice.
Is there how do people follow you?
So right now I'm on Facebook, Michelle Spencer. I also have a Facebook page called Healing Ground, because I'm a healer at the same time. So if you're welcome to reach out, and I'm working on making a web page, an official web page, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, I would do that fast, because they're going to take you down from Facebook. Most of the people listening now aren't even on Facebook.
Right, I know.
Taken down. So you need to find somewhere else. All right, thank you so much. For
You're welcome. Thank you.
The truth is, vaccine injuries are real and they've been ignored.
These childhood vaccinations, the people of America are telling us they are not safe and effective. We are seriously concerned at Children's Health Defense about the disinformation and misinformation out there.
Society does not want to acknowledge vaccine injury, period. My son's life has been ruined physically and emotionally, and he is persecuted for the mere fact that he exists.
After 8 years of litigation, HHS conceded by preponderance of the evidence that Chris died from her HPV vaccinations.
Parents deserve the truth. We deserve real informed consent, because no parent should have to live the nightmare I do.
I am heartbroken to hear these stories, and it makes me want to do something.
How about we ban pharmaceutical ads on TV?
I've advocated it, and you have a co-sponsor.
The government has decided that this particular industry doesn't have to be liable to anybody.
I am extremely suspicious, as a lawyer, of immunity that is granted in any blanket way across the board to any manufacturer or to anyone.
So if we're gonna do something, the North Star has gotta be medical freedom. I get to decide what's good for me and my family with proper information. And if I'm given improper information, just like in any other industry, there's gotta be accountability.
No more Pfizer-sponsored science. We need independent science.
I am competing against a pharmaceutical lobby of 1,600 lobbyists. That's 3 lobbyists for each member of Congress. This is insane.
Everybody sitting here, bar 2, vaccinated their families with catastrophic results. Over 12,000 signatures on those 2 buses of death, death, death. When will enough be enough? How many more buses? So this has to stop. And we implore you, please, to follow us at children's health events, at least break down the truth and get to the truth behind the science of what is really happening.